Now I'm going to show you how to access a MySQL database from an Android application. There are few things required for this. First of all, if you want to access a MySQL database from an Android application which is written in Java, the MySQL database entries should be converted into a JSON format. This could be done by any server-side scripting. In this example, we are going to use PHP to do the job. Okay, PHP codes will convert the MySQL entries into JSON entries, JSON format, which could be accessed by the Android application. Let's see how to go about with this issue. The first thing needed in this process is to have a server, which has the Apache web server and the MySQL. In order to do this, we will use what is called as XAMPP server. You could always download the XAMPP server from this website here according to the platform you want. Let's say assume we are using Windows platform. I have downloaded this file here and I have installed this file. Okay, to access it, if I go to my start and then type XAMPP, you will have XAMPP control panel, which is this one here. So we will use this XAMPP control panel to start the respective Apache or MySQL or other servers here. You can see XAMPP contains Apache, MySQL, FileZilla, Mercury and Tomcat. You can actually install all these modules separately, but if you want to do it in one shot to make your life easy, you can use XAMPP. So in this XAMPP here, I'm going to start Apache. Then I am also starting MySQL. Okay, now if I open my browser and type localhost and press enter, I should see this page here. It means XAMPP has been installed successfully. So if I want to know which folder XAMPP is using to host the files, you can go into config, under Apache go to config, go into httpd.conf. Go and search for, I'm pressing Ctrl F here in the notepad file here, and then type document. You will see a word called document root. Okay, this is actually the folder where your files are hosted. This is from the folder where you have the things which could be accessed by your web server. By the way, if you want to change the folder, you can always change the folder. Right now, let me access that folder. My folder is this: C drive, XAMPP, htdocs. I have so many files in this folder. And then you can also check for many things in this file here, which is the httpd.conf, which is httpdaemon.conf. The server is running at port number 80. That's why you see here listen 80, means it is running at port number 80. And the server root is hosted at this folder, c:/XAMPP/Apache. So accordingly, you could have your things there. Next, if I want to access my database and do things there, I have a simple tool which is called as phpMyAdmin. Here I can go into databases. Here I can create a database, give a name and click create. It will create the database. Let's say if the database is already available, you want to create tables, you can click on SQL, you can put your SQL query, click on go, it will create the respective entries there. You can also access, once the table is done, I can go in, I can access the table. I can add elements or I can delete elements, I can edit elements, I can do a lot of things here. And I can also do import, export, and I can do insert. If I want to insert some elements, I can insert. I can export my table out in different formats like CSV, comma separated variable format, or JSON, LaTeX, whatever format, PDF. I can also import things like if I have some file available, I can import them. Okay, these are things you could do. There are many such options available. So you can see these are things you could do here. So this is a nice tool. So right now, I'm going to use my program to access from Android to access the MySQL. So in this case, I have my MySQL database installed. The database I'm going to use is called Android Hive. And it has a table called products, which is made up of some entries here. If I go to structure, I will see it has a PID, it has a name, price, description, created at, updated at. These are the fields I have. If you want to change them, if you want to edit them, you can always do things here. It should be easier here. Now I need to access this. I have already told you, you need two things. One, you have the PHP code. Two, you have the Android program. My PHP code is actually hosted at this place here. XAMPP, htdocs, Android underscore connect. You can give any folder name. I've just given this file name here, this folder name here. And these are the files I'm using here. Create product, db config, db connect, delete product, get all products, get product details, and update product. So if you see through, like the db config is the simplest file. It will, here you will provide what is the username by which you connect, what is the database name, what is the server, and so on and so forth. These details has to be provided here. And db connect is a program which is used to connect to the database. So let us take a simple example and see how to connect to this database now. Let's go to the Java side of it. For the Java purpose, this is my package. By the way, you can get all these programs from your Moodle. If you go to CPIT 499, you will find a sample Android to MySQL code. So if you download the zip file, it contains both the Java as well as the PHP program. You have to copy the PHP into a folder called Android underscore connect inside XAMPP slash htdocs. C drive XAMPP slash htdocs. My Java program is here. So you will find here I have 5 code programs here, 5 Java programs. Okay. And this is my manifest file. Let's open the manifest file here. If you go to resource, you will find the layout files also. Okay. These are the layout files available. Let's open the main screen. This is my main screen. It's a simple linear layout with 2 buttons. If you click on the first button, I'm going to retrieve all the documents, all the products which are stored in the database. And if I want to create a new product, I click on the second button. It's a simple layout, but you can always change things here. So let me go to the main screen activity program, which is the main program here. Okay, this is my first program. It contains onCreate method, and as you know, it extends activity. Okay, it's extending an activity program. Here I'm actually creating button and I'm giving names for it. I'm accessing the buttons here. Before I do the access of the button, I'm using my view using this set content view r.layout.main screen main underscore screen. Basically r.layout will access res layout folder. Main underscore screen will access this file main underscore screen.xml file. So this file will be shown on my mobile phone when the program starts. Then I'm accessing the buttons. How do I access the buttons? If you go to the main underscore screen.xml file, you see I'm giving an ID for a button, Android colon ID, at plus ID, meaning I'm adding an ID, and this is the ID name. You can give any name here. Here I have given BTN view products, and for the second button, I have given BTN create product. If you go to the main program here, I'm reading both of them here, by the way. So I can give any name here. This is my variable right now. So I say if you, I'm putting a listener here, set on click listener for the view products. If you click on the button for view products, then it will call this method which is called onClick. Basically it is through new.onClickListener. And here I am calling another class here. If you want to call one activity from another, then you need to use what is called as intent. If we have an activity, this is an activity, main screen is an activity. I want to call another activity which is called all products activity. Okay, you will find here the all products activity. So this is your all products activity here. If I want to call from the main to the all products activity, I need what is called as an intent. So here I'm creating an intent and I'm saying this is in context, in this application context. Get application context gives you the current context. Okay, and I'm saying we want to call this guy which is all products activity dot class and say start activity of I, which is meaning this intent here. This will start that intent. That class will be executed here. If you click on the other button, which is the button new product, it will call on click here, and here I'm calling new product activity, which is this class here. Okay, you are going to call that program here, and then we start the activity. So this is pretty simple of the main screen. So main screen brings the main screen here. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, this is a layout. You click on the first one, call something, click on the second one, calls some other class. So let's talk about all products activity. If you understand one of them, you will understand the others easily. So if you go to this all products activity, you will find here this is extending a list activity. Why do you need to extend a list activity? Because it's going to read things from the database and display them one after the other. Also here we have a progress dialog. If your database has a lot of entries and then you want to show the user, okay, we are loading now. So we use this progress dialog. And we are using a JSON parser. Okay, So JSON parser is this program. We are going to create an object for it. We are using it here. And then we are creating an array list which is made up of hash map of string comma string. We call it as a products list. Next line is the most important line here. Actually, I'm creating a string which is a URL. If I want to access a database, here I need to provide the IP address or the domain name of the server where you are hosting your database. Remember, getAllProducts.php is nothing but one of the programs available here, which is this guy here, getAllProducts.php. It is stored under C, XAMPP, htdocs, Android Connect. That's why I'm using Android Connect here. Okay, let me get the machine's IP address. If I put IP config, I get the machine's IP address 192.168.100.3. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use this for now, 192.168.100.3. Okay, connecting to the database. So this is actually, if I go copy this and then put in my browser, right, it should be accessing something. See, it is returning something. This is actually in the format of JSON. It is accessing my database, giving me details there. So if you go to the database here, and if you try to access the elements of this database, let's go in here. You see it is PID is 1, there is no name. PID 2, the name is Biscuit. 20 is the price, and it says Biscuit sales, whatever. You will see ID is 2, name is Biscuit, price and description, created at, updated at, and it says success as 1. So this is the content, you have it. Okay, so let's see, this is what it's actually retrieving, showing you in JSON. This is JSON format. Let's go back to our mobile program, our Java program here. Here we are creating some strings, constant strings. We are just giving some names for it. And then we are saying JSON array products is null. Right now it is empty. Okay, nothing is there. So in the onCreate method, we say set content view r.layout.all underscore product. So basically it's calling this XML file here. R.layout goes to res.layout. So if I go down here, you will see it is nothing but a list view. Okay, just a list view. And I'm giving Android at ID slash list. Please note it's not an at plus ID. We are using at Android colon ID slash list. So this is a list view. Elements will come and elements will be added to this list. Let's see how these elements are added to the list right now. All right, so let me save this because I changed the IP address. So here you have the product list. I am creating an array of it because remember you have the product list here. Okay, creating an object here, and it says hash map of string, and I'm calling a method here. Basically, load all products.execute. Load all products is a class available here, and .execute I'm calling it here. You can see load all products extends async task. What is async task? Async task is a process by which you can do background services, background tasks in Android programming. Okay, so when I say async task, you can give the object, create an object for the class, and then you just call execute. It will execute that methods there. And there's a procedure. How does it execute? Before the job is done, it will call on pre-execute. After the job is complete, it will call on post-execute. And the actual job should be in here, which is called do in background method. And there's a procedure. If you have 3 parameters here, what are the parameters that should be used in the given methods is also available. Okay, so I'm just going to explain here on pre-execute. So before I do my task, what should I do? I create a progress dialog, because I told you if you're going to load things from your database, if it is going to take time, let's create a progress dialog. Okay, and the progress dialog, we are creating a progress dialog here, and then we are setting a message. Okay, loading so and so. Okay, and we are putting some options and we want it to be shown to us. Okay, and this is a very old stuff which was added in API 1, if you can see. Okay, so it's just a progress dialog. If suppose the loading is too quick, you will not see any change, or you will not even see this progress dialog box. Next, it will come and execute this, which is called do in background. Here I'm creating a list which is a name value pair, parameters you say array list of name value pair, and here is the point. You say JSON make request URL all products get params. So actually what I'm doing, URL all products, URL underscore all products is nothing but the URL which I've given earlier, this guy here. Okay, so I'm actually linking to that, and you want to download the respective files. You can see here. So HTTP request is made, which is using JParser. What is JParser? If you scroll up, you will find I've created JParser is the object for JSON parser, which is this one here. JSON parser is this class here. And here I have the make HTTP request. Basically, this will connect to the data, connect to the HTTP server, which is a web server, Apache, send a request, get reply. This is all HTTP request reply. It could be applied to any server, even if it is not PHP, you can still use, no problem, right? So here we get the response. We want to put it in the debug, log.debug. All products, we just want to display whether you got the products or not. Now let us continue. Let's say we got a response from the server. Okay, we have got some response here. So what should we do with these responses right now? First thing, we will get int tag underscore success. What is underscore success? You can see here it is by the tag here success. And if you actually go back to our PHP code, it returns. There's a variable called success. The value is 1. Okay. So if the value is 1, you read. If the value is not 1, means you are not getting really any data. So it's going to read the integer success, and then it's going to check. If it is 1, then it's going to read the products array. The products array is basically, if you see tag underscore products, refers to products, and if you go to the program here, the PHP returns the products array, which contains everything until here. Okay, so it is reading the products here. Let me continue. So read the products, and for those products, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so many records, you get each one of them, and you get the JSON object of each product, and you read the elements. You read the ID, you read the name, right? If there's a hash map, you can also get things around. So you can read the elements here. After this, what you do here is basically, remember, you have what is called as products list, okay, which you have created earlier, which this one, which is an array list here. Okay, you are going to add these things into the list. The ID is added to the list, and the name is added to the list. Okay, so you will add them. You will get the elements, you will add them to the list here. That is the job you are going to do. So it's actually the key and the value. Okay, this is the value, and this is your key. Key is PID, which is a string, and the value is 1 for now. Key is 1, and then there's name, and the value is the name, biscuit or whatever. 2 for 2 PID, the ID is 2, biscuit is the name, and you add them to the hash list. Okay, so how do you add array list? So product list dot add, and you put this map. So you are creating a hash map, you are going to add them into the products list. If the success is 0, meaning, it's not 1, then it means there's nothing. Okay, so you want to add something new, you are calling another intent where you call this guy new product activity. Okay, and you want to add elements. This is start activity, means you are calling that intent. So let's continue on post execute. When the job is finished, when the background task, which is the do in background, is finished, then what you do is you will dismiss your dialog. P dialog is your process dialog. Remember, this is your process dialog you have shown. We want to close it off, and then what you want to do, you will undergo a thread. Okay, this is a run on UI thread because you need to update the user interface. Okay, so what you do is you take a list adapter, which is using a simple adapter. You will access for this class all the products list, which is your product list is your array list, and you want to show them r.layout.list underscore item. So if you see here, list underscore item is specified here. Okay, it is showing you how to show. You have to show a text view. Inside text view, you show the ID first, then the next text view, you show the name, and there's a font, there's size, whatever. You can specify whatever format you want it to be. Then you are just adding the elements like tag ID, tag name, and then you want to put some of these things there. Okay, and you update your adapter. That's all. Set list adapter, and you will say the adapter itself, which is this object here. So that's it. When you do this, it will be added to your list, and it's going to be shown to you as a list. So if I continue further, okay, so this will finish this. Then I am going to access my list view. How to access my list view? By using get list view. Okay, this will access my list view. And if I select an item in the list, what should I do next? That is the main thing. Suppose the list shows some item, biscuit and all this. If I select, what should I do? Okay, so if I select, I'm saying on item click, I'm going to read the ID of it, convert it into string. Then I'm calling what is called edit product activity. You want to go and edit those contents. Okay, which is this guy here, edit product activity. So just go edit it. And if you want to change something, you can. Here I'm calling start activity for result, because when I send a request change, when it comes back I need a result. When it returns back to me, this is actually a result request code, it will give me that number also back, so I can check if the resultant code is equal to the number I send. Then I know, okay, this is the result for my actual request. And when it returns back, the start activity for result, when it returns back, it will automatically call on activity result method. This is normal in Android. Okay, here I can actually get the intent and I can finish means actually closing an activity, right? And you can do whatever you want to do here. So these are the steps involved in what is called all products activity. If I go to continue, and you will see the remaining things are similar. If I want to do new products activity, which is this guy here, all right, it's almost similar to the previous one. Again, I need to change here to the IP address according to what we really need. So if this is your IP address, 192.168.100.3. Okay, again we need to refer to the right ones. And then here you see I'm accessing the variables, accessing the fields, set on click. What I have to do, I'm calling create new product, which is again a class. And dot execute means it is extending the async task. And on pre execute is to make a progress dialog box. Do in the background, I want to read user input. Okay, create a list and then add them to the list. Then I need to make a request to JSON parser, but this time using a post method, and pass the parameters to it. Previously we didn't pass any parameter because we are getting things. Now we are posting, and we check whether it is successful. Okay, if it is successful, then you can call back the all products again. If it is not successful, you leave it, or we can give a toast, for example, a small message to show it didn't succeed. And there is on post execute. On post execute, you will execute it after you finish loading. That means you will dismiss the dialog box or the progress dialog. Next, if you see the other one, which is the edit product activity, again these are similar stuff. You will see here, instead of all these IPs has to be changed, okay, to the respective IP. If suppose you are using Wi-Fi, please look for your IP, your laptops connect your mobile phone as well as your laptop to the same Wi-Fi, and then access your IP address, find out your IP address in your laptop, put this thing in the file, generate the APK file, and install it in the mobile phone to see how it works. So this is again similar stuff. So I'm going to skim through quickly on this. So again, reading, you're going to get, you're calling what is called get product details. Again, there's a class here. And then you will see set on click listeners to call something. There are also methods to do it. Delete, and you can see save product details, execute. Again, it's an async task job. This is also another async task. So there will be a lot of classes inside. On pre-execute, you know this. On the background, you want to access things here again using the JSON, get HTTP request. You get things here. Then again, you will see on post. Then the next one, save product details, another async task. You do things here again using JSON again. And similarly, the third one, the last one, which is a delete product. So, okay, I'm not going to go into details here. JSON parser, this is one of the things which is highly needed for us, because we want to access, we want to connect to the database. And how do I connect? I'm making HTTP request. All right, I'm making a request if it is a get or post, and then accordingly we use what is called default HTTP request, and you will say HTTP post and the URL. You will pass the URL. If it is get, you should use HTTP get, okay, with the URL, and you will get a response from the client. Connect to the database, to the server, get the response, and you can get the content. So these are very basic stuff, and you can read the elements basically one by one, line by line. You can read it, and you can put it as a JSON and return it back to the server. Okay, create it as a JSON object and return it back to the guy who is calling you, which is this one, the JSON object. We have seen this. Again, new product creation, it's similar. Okay, we have seen already. And this one is a manifest file. In the manifest file, you say this is running on minimum version is, let me just run this because it will take time to load, and my Android emulator is running here. So you will see, I'm just saying some orientation issues here. There's an activity, first activity, which is a main screen activity. There's another second activity, all products activity, third one, there's a fourth one. Okay, and I also need permissions to use the internet because I'm going to access things via the internet, right? So you can see, I can go to my console, and it says here it has actually targeted, installed everything. Let's go to my, this is my emulator. Let me click on the view products. Let's see whether I'm getting something here. So it's connecting, it's accessing my biscuit, okay, which is actually in this machine here, which I've just now shown you, which is here. Okay, go to the structure, go to browse, sorry, go to the tables, you find here, this is the biscuit. So if I edit something here, you will find it also gets edited. I mean, you can change it, and you can also edit it here directly. And if I want to add things, I can add new elements here, okay. These are things you can do from the database. Okay, let's say I'm adding chocolate, let's say 10 real for example, right? Nice chocolate to eat. Just create a product. Let's go back here. Let's go back and browse again. You see my chocolate is added. Nice chocolate to eat. So I can change, you can change it both parts here. So this is a pretty simple program where you can access your database, connect to your database, and you can do things like, if suppose you want to put some passwords and the like, you can also generate an activity where user enters the username and password, and the password is sent to the SQL, and we make a query and see how it goes. And I hope you understand how to connect to a remote database from an Android program. Okay. Simply on a recap, what you need a web server, you need the MySQL or the database server where you host your databases. You need to have the Android program, and you need to have the server-side script, which is probably PHP, ASP, ASP.NET, JSP. Convert your queries into JSON and get the required results and send it to the to the Android program. In Android, we normally use what is called as a JSON parser, which is actually going to get the request and reply. And in your programs, if you want, because we are going to connect to database, get request reply, we should not do these kind of jobs in the main thread, which is the activity thread, which is the GUI thread. You do it at the background, which is done using what is called async task. Whenever you create a class with async task, you have three methods involved. One is called on pre-execute, second one doing background, and the third one is called as on post execute. There are three methods that are involved here. And here we are accessing things and we are displaying them in the format of what is called list elements or list view. So if you go to the main screen .xml file, you will see here it just has a button. When you want to display them, we go under what is called list view. Okay, it is list item, it goes by text view and text view. If you want to add products, so we have all the necessary files here. You can have a look. It might be a bit slow loading all these things, but you can have a look up on all these things. When I want to display items, I use what is called add product, which is just a list view, which can list elements one after the other. And that's all on this topic.